Puzzle them Fabble? Who knows? It's very important to get the right names for your characters, guys. That's the first step to a good run. There we go. Both runners readied up. And we're about to start. The FF1 race is not one of these, not one of the many Final Fantasy games where there's a really long intro and we don't do anything for a bit. We will start off straight away. When we do. Look at me with all the build up and then it hasn't started. There we go. So the very first thing you're going to see is what makes the PSP version of this run so much faster than the others, which is the equipment glitch, which we will be using throughout the run, basically to break the game. So Leo here choosing not to do his menu glitching too early. KrusKader doing the more traditional route, where we are glitching 4 Knights Armours. Knights Armours, of course, are a very powerful armour. Not the most powerful in the game, but at this point in the game, much more powerful than we should have. They also sell for a lot of money, which enables us to do our shopping straight off the bat, or not. Yep, neither of these runners choosing to do their shopping. They'll be doing that in a later town. Oh, no. KrusKader is doing his shopping. So we're just buying some potions here, and a couple of antidotes, a couple of Phoenix Downs. All things that we probably won't be able to afford normally. Now, while they're making their way up to the Chaos Shrine, I'll try and do my best to explain the equipment glitch. There is, I believe, an exclamation mark command for the equipment glitch, which probably does a better job of explaining it than I will, but I will try. So every piece of equipment in the game is given a index code. So that's for pieces of armor and for weapons. However, by utilizing a kind of frame perfect glitch that lets us get into 2 menus at once, we can turn those weapons into armor and armor into weapons on adjacent characters. So, for example, we bought the hammer, which, say it has the index code of 1. The equivalent item in the armor category was the knight's armor, which therefore enabled us to produce a knight's armor out of absolutely nowhere. Maybe we don't have an exclamation mark command. My bad. I believe that was on our other channel that we were using. Anyway, you'll just have to deal with Kibetha's terrible explanation instead. Basically, we pull items out of thin air that we shouldn't have at this point in the game, and it makes us really OP right from the start. So, what the guys have to do right now is they pretty much rushed through it because we don't like looking at dialogue in speedruns, don't be silly. We were sent to go and rescue Princess Sarah, who has been kidnapped by this guy with the very threatening name of Garland. Normally, he'd be a decent boss fight, and he threatens to knock us all down, but we have just glitched ourselves a judgment staff from another item that we picked up in the Chaos Shrine. And the judgment staff is a decently powerful weapon, but the most important thing about it for this run is we are going to be using it to cast Flare, which is the most powerful magic spell in the game. Yes, we are 3 minutes in, and we have the most powerful magic spell in the game. Get used to it, guys. This is pretty much how this run works. We can blitz anything in our path. But yeah, we've rescued Sarah, and received a loot for our troubles, which we're going to need right at the end of the game. In this particular version of the game, you're forced to pick up the loot, We actually skip it in the speedrun by talking to Sarah by choice, but if you try and leave without getting the loot, she calls you back and she gives it to you anyway, because she thinks music is very important. But otherwise, you can get halfway through the final dungeon and find that that thing you didn't pick up right at the beginning of the game stops you from getting to the end of the game. So that's quite a nice thing about this version of the game. It doesn't force you to do that. So as thanks for rescuing Sarah, they are building us a bridge so that we can get off basically the island of Cornelia. I don't know if Cornelia counts as an island, but so we can go access the rest of the world. And that means that we've got a couple of cutscenes to skip, including this one on Leo's side, which this is the only version of the game where you can skip that very annoying cutscene. And normally it's several minutes of waiting around to be told the storyline of this game where we're going to skip all the story. So, quite nice. Be able to skip it. So Leo now is walking to Provoker, which is the next town that we will be visiting. You can see he's taking a little bit of a detour here. That's because the tiles that we are walking on, every tile can produce, or almost every tile can produce random encounters. However, forest tiles are considerably more likely. So Leo here choosing to avoid the forest tiles by taking a bit of a detour. Couple more tiles, couple more chances of encounters, but might reduce it by taking less forest tiles. KrusKader, however, walking straight through. And on Leo's side, run into some wolves. You will be seeing these guys a lot. Wolves are one of the hardest enemies to run from in the game, and they can occasionally take minutes off your runtime, just on their own. So both runners pretty much neck and neck right now. These pirates are pretty easy to take care of with the judgment stuff that I mentioned earlier. So we just cast Flare. They all die, all 9 of them, straight away. And if we use our thief to do that, we can usually get the first turn. So these pirates go down very quickly. And then we nick their boat, because, you know, we have no respect for pirates. I mean, I don't think a pirate would complain about someone stealing something from them. And Leo there got the leather shield drop from his fight, which will save him a little bit of time and going into one of the shops. But he's choosing to do his shopping that he didn't do in Cornelia here. Oh, looks like KrusKader also got the leather shield, or he doesn't use the leather shield. I'm not sure what route KrusKader is using. I will do my best to take a look and find out for you. Now, this is one of the major route differences that you can see from these two runners. As you can see, KrusKader making a quick start on the sea encounters and rushing across the sea. Unfortunately, run into some big eyes. They're probably the hardest thing to try and run away from in the sea. But Leo, doing some slightly unusual minigames here. The 15 puzzle minigame is only accessible from your ship and means that you can get some optional items by doing the 15 game puzzle in a certain period of time. What Leo was probably after there, I don't think he got it, was the emergency exit, which allows you to escape from any dungeon straight away, and that saves an enormous amount of time in one of the dungeons that we will be proceeding to later. However, I did not see Leo get it, but I think he was only going to do one attempt at the 15 puzzle there, because, as you can see, even a fast 15 puzzle takes about 30 seconds, so. But yeah, that's kind of there's a 1 in 6 chance of getting the emergency exit if you do the 15 puzzle in the right time period. It's a risk that Leo chose to take. Not one that I would personally take in a race situation, but he's very good at the 15 puzzles, so I cannot fault him for that decision. Also, it's something that runners who run other versions of the game sometimes tend to do. And Leo, I believe, specialises in GBA. So, KrusKader, on his side, didn't get as much of a head start as you would think due to Leo using the 15 puzzle, because he got stuck against those Sahagins and Big Eyes. So, actually leaving them still about neck and neck. That is one of the problems with the sea. You don't get very many encounters on the sea tiles in this game. It's considerably reduced compared to normal land tiles. But when you do, they can be really messy at this stage of the game, because we haven't got any agility equipment on. And your chance to flee is dependent on your agility. Oh, and this is looking messy on Leo's side. Actually looking messy on both sides here. Some enemies in this game, when they attack, they can inflict a status effect, particularly undead enemies, it's quite common. Undead enemies generally inflict paralysis, which stops your characters from making any moves. Obviously, if all your characters get paralysed, we call it a paralock, and it means that you basically just have to sit there at the mercy of the enemies until, hopefully by some crazy RNG chance, one of your characters breaks free. So Leo just about avoided a paralock there, but pretty close. So, making their quick way through the marsh cave, which has a fairly low chance of encounters, so they're making a speedy way through. Leo's a little bit more speedy than Krus is, and here we are fighting the Pisca Demons to get to the chest that they are guarding. Pisca Demons, again, quite a nasty boss fight, unless you have the Judgment stuff, in which case they go down with one flare. Leo only getting 2 on his side, Krus getting 3. I'm not sure if KrusKader is doing the Black Mage route, in which case that those 3 Pisca Demons will actually be beneficial to him, as experience early in the game is more important in that route. But Leo making a quick exit, as we don't have emergency exits, just have to run. And hope we don't get ambushed by anything. This is a relatively safe dungeon compared to some of the later ones that we'll be visiting in the game. And next, you'll see Leo heading up halfway to where he was before, and then he will be trying to make his way even further north, where we are going to get lured in by the Elf King, Astos, who we think is so friendly, and he's a bit of a babe, and we like him, and he's a nice old man, a bit like Santa Claus. We go and give him the crown, because, you know, he's a nice Elf King. And then he turns into, like, evil drow elf, and we have to kill him. And, you know, you guys have seen 10 minutes of this game, I'm sure you can tell how difficult this boss is going to be. Yeah, we just kick him a few times and he goes down. Astos does have one nasty attack which can inflict instant death on one of your characters, but looks like Leo's got away with that one. And KrusKader on his side, again, getting attacked by oh so many wolves. These guys are so hard to run from at this point in the game. You can be just stuck here for several turns just trying to flee. Yep, good point. That attack conveniently named Death. Who would have thought a death attack called Death? So Leo makes quick work of Astos. Leo's still on a decent pace here, actually. Despite that 15 puzzle start, I'm very impressed. Oh, now we got some wolves to try and change his fortunes around. So KrusKader just starting to take on Astos as Leo makes his way back to his ship, which is a long run that can significantly change your progress. And he's just going to grab some gold needles probably here in Elfheim. Gold needles being things that can cure stone, which is a particularly nasty status effect that can end your game. It basically counts as KO in terms of game overs, but usually in this run we can only be KO'd by being petrified if we get ambushed, which of course is absolutely possible because this is FF1 and we love some RNG in FF1. So yeah, that was a good ocean sailing trip. Not too many Sahagins or big eyes before we get any agility increasing equipment. And now Leo's heading up to Matoya's cave. Matoya being some random witch who isn't very good at holding on to her eyeballs. And we received an eyeball from Astos when we killed him. And, you know, we somehow magically know that we should just go find this witch and give her eyeball back. I don't actually know. I've been told by several people that this is not an actual eyeball. It's called the crystal eye. But it might be a crystal ball or something. Don't know. But yeah, we're giving it to her and we get a jolt tonic. And yep, you guys have seen how this game works. This is the next stage of the fetch quests. Oh, KrusKader! More wolves! This poor guy. It could be a combination of having some not very good stats on his characters as well as bad luck here. You can't control how well your characters level up. It's all RNG. So there is a possibility of his characters having some rather low agility at this point in the game before we can increase that with our accessories later. It means it's quite hard to run from things at this point. Which means he's having a little bit of a time loss here. Then again, he did just manage to run first turn from those wolves, so what do I know? This game, basically, if you don't understand anything, just say it's random, and it'll pretty much explain everything. Leo not taking his chances on those Sahagins, just gonna chuck a quick judgment staff at them. And KrusKader doing the same on his side. Sharks are another encounter that's very difficult to run from, very fast. Usually, since they quite often come on their own or with just two of them, it can be faster to kill them. So we've taken our Jolt Tonic, and this is the new Elf King, I suppose. This is the Elf Prince, but since we coldly murdered the Elf King himself, is this the new Elf King? I don't know, but he's happy that we brought him a Jolt Tonic, which revived him from his sickness, slumber, enchanted sleep, whatever it is. So he gives us a magic key that lets us get into the back room of his castle. And several other people's castles too. He's a nice guy. And the first thing we're going to get from the back room of his castle is the Mithril Hammer. And of course we don't actually want the Mithril Hammer, we want the thing that we can glitch from it, which is the Thief's Armlet. Now, I can't remember exactly how much it increases your agility. I think it might be +5. I'm not the best of commentators for knowing exact stats, but these guys will now find it a hell of a lot easier to run from Sahagins, from wolves, from big eyes. Basically from now on, we'll be just fleeing from everything. There you go, that's Leo running away, and hopefully he's going to prove me right by being able to run away from these guys as quickly as possible. Yep, there you go. First try. Most of the stuff that we glitch in this game is agility-based stuff, because, as you've probably noticed, we run away from things a lot. Boss battles in this game, due to our ridiculously OP equipment, aren't actually that hard, so most of the dangers we'll be facing come from random encounters. KrusKader has grabbed his Jolt Tonic, that's not a euphemism, and he's also heading to wake up the Elf Prince, so probably caught up a bit here. I think he had quite a good walk back from Matoya's cave. Now, one difference you might see, although I've been going on about how random this game is, quite a big difference in terms of things that runners can actually control are these glitch menus. You can do them extremely quickly. A very experienced runner can do these in like a few seconds. Or if you're a less experienced runner, maybe like KrusKader, I mean, he's been around for a year, at least a year, but Leo has been doing this game for a very long time, done it in a few FF relays. As you can see, it can make a massive difference on the time that this particular menu takes. It is a frame-perfect glitch, and you do have to press 2 buttons at exactly the same time to even be able to open the menu, so it can be pretty difficult. But certainly something that makes a difference in terms of the speed of your run. Now, what has Leo been doing while we've been watching that menu? He has headed into... Oh, what is this place called? Mount Dwega? Something along those lines. Basically, it's a place where dwarves hang out. And we went and found the one pyromaniac dwarf in Mount Dwega, and we gave him some dynamite, because we're responsible adults. And he has blown us a nice hole in the side of the continent so that we can get out into the rest of the world. We've all kind of wondered what happens with, like, cave-ins and flooding and, you know, climate change and nesting sites for birds and such things, but we don't care, because we just need to get to the next place. So, right. Next equipment glitch. This is probably the most important one in the game. And it's already over, Leo, very quick there. The Barbarian Sword is, well, most powerful weapon in the game, by far. About 3 times as powerful as the Excalibur, which was in the GBA version as the most powerful weapon in the game. The Barbarian Sword was introduced especially for this 20th anniversary version of the game. I believe it was 20th anniversary, I'm not just like reducing years here. And yeah, it's 3 times as powerful as the Excalibur, and it gives you a strength increase on top of that. You're only meant to get it by fighting the most powerful version of the most difficult optional boss in the game. But we can just glitch it and pull it out of our butts. So, yeah, we've put it on the Thief and the Warrior. Haven't bothered putting it on the mages because they'll be casting spells mostly. And it's such a powerful sword, we don't actually need everyone to have it at the moment. But yeah, it basically means that we can one-shot all of the bosses for at least the next 45 minutes. So we're heading into the Cavern of Earth. This is probably the first of the most dangerous dungeons, because we now have some enemies that can wipe the game if we run into a particularly bad encounter with them, which is an ambush. Yes, Chris, I did say we don't need it on everyone. In the new versions of the route. Jeez. So Leo actually getting through quite quickly. I didn't get a chance to tell you about cockatrices or Blizzcademons or wraiths. I will tell you quickly about the vampire that we're fighting. Oh wait, it's dead. Don't need to. Yep, this guy goes down so quickly under the Barbarian Sword. That is the might of the Barbarian Sword. It does about 500 to 800 damage at this point in the game. And obviously this poor guy only had about 500 HP. But yeah, this is our second attempt at watching Leo get some truly dangerous encounters. Come on, Leo, try harder. Oh, he's just going to get trolled by a bat instead. Okay, fine. Yeah, these guys, just look out for the NPCs in this game, because they love to get in your face, in your way, and just slow you down as much as possible. Bats count as NPCs, by the way. But yeah, the cockatrice is here. I mentioned earlier that some enemies can inflict status effects with their normal attack. Cockatrices inflict petrify. You can find them on the 3rd floor of the Cavern of Earth downwards, and if you get ambushed by them, they come in packs of about 6 or 7 plus. And yeah, so that's a chance for them to petrify your entire party before you even get an attack off. Which is why you'll see these runners safety saving here, because although it's unlikely that they will get such a painful way to wipe a run, it is possible, and anything possible is really just an invitation, basically, in RNG terms. Both runners at the moment getting decent encounters, nothing particularly putting up a fight. Oh, I spoke too soon. Some wild wolves. Hopefully we'll be able to run away from these guys fairly quickly. Yeah, not too bad. So, when we killed the vampire, we picked up the Star Ruby, which is the next stage on our fetch quest of Doom. So we've just fed the Star Ruby to the giant here, who likes eating precious gems. I don't know, I can't explain this to you. But he went off to eat his ruby, so he got out of our way so that we can carry on. Again, that's another item that's extremely difficult. No, not difficult, extremely easy to forget. You can get all the way down there, kill the vampire, run back out, and then go, oh crap, what happened to the Star Ruby? Run over, or possibly just losing 10 minutes or whatever. So yeah, definitely don't want to forget the Star Ruby. We've all done it. It's very embarrassing. Leo, other side of the Giant's Cavern, gone to talk to a random sage in a cave. What is with all these random magic folk in caves? Who gave him the Earth Rod, which he can now carry on past the 3rd floor of the Cavern of Earth. So, all the way back down there. KrusKader picked up the Star Ruby. He didn't hear me and get cursed by the commentator's curse there. That's 2 for 2 Star Rubies. Well done, gentlemen. Oh no, Mozarek? Am I saying that right? He specifically says he likes eating Star Rubies. He does not leave it to the imagination what he does with that Star Ruby. Goes on and on about how delicious it is. You may have noticed, by the way, that neither of our runners are really healing here, partly because we are so overgeared at this point that we don't really need to, but also because we are trying to get our warrior and our thief, particularly, down to somewhere between 20 and 70 HP. We don't need that straight away, but we will need it by about the 50-minute mark of this run. 45-minute maybe. Yeah, so we are trying to find a way to get our HP down. Not essential, but it is quite convenient for later on. Yeah, Chris bringing up the elephant in the room. We're about to go and fight the first boss who has a chance of wiping us. Lich is another boss that can go down in one hit from the barbarian sword. However, he likes to not. If he gets first turn, he's got a chance of casting Blizzara, which does about 150 plus HP damage on all of the characters, no matter what you do. So, ideally, you don't want to see him move at all. If you do see him move at all, you want him to do a physical attack. We had a runner the other day who got Blizzarded 4 times in a row. How is that possible? Because he safety saved beforehand, and then got Blizzarded 4 times in a row. And Leo getting all the rare encounters here. He's just had some Wraiths, which nearly paralysed him. And then some Ochre Jellies, which are a bit mean. And one is 64 encounter for this floor, I think. And now the Cockatrices, which they're doing their very best to turn all his party to stone. Luckily, did not succeed. Now, it's a little bit early in the game for his characters to be turned to stone, even though they were ideally placed as the warrior and thief. We are going to be trying to get them turned to stone or killed later, but as the more characters you have alive, the easier it is to run away from encounters. It's a little bit early, so Leo just using his gold needles to heal them up there. And some Wraiths taking a second try at paralysing him. Yeah, Leo running into a few messy encounters here. And more cockroaches. Definitely an opportunity for KrusKader to catch up here. Guys, you keep calling him Bonsai. It's Banzai. Bonsai is a small tree. Banzai, not Bonsai. And Leo's now on the 5th floor, or 5th basement floor, B5 anyway, which is where we will find Lich, who is the first of the 4 fiends. These guys we will be tracking down all over the world because they carry the crystals, which is that round blob thing that you'll see on Leo's screen right now. So that safety save to try and protect us from Blizzara Doom. KrusKader meanwhile getting 4 Pisca Demons, which are of course unrunnable. Unfortunately he was on autopilot there. Yep, and that's a nice safe Lich fight. Perfect, just what we want to see. KrusKader meanwhile making his way through the 3rd floor, hopefully going to get a better 3rd floor than Leo did. His warrior's looking a little low there. Probably going to stop and potion him at some point. Or maybe not. Maybe just let him die off. So yeah, that cutscene there that we just casually ignored because we've seen it far too many times. That's the cutscene of the optional dungeons that were introduced in the GBA version, Dawn of Souls. Every time you kill a fiend, it unlocks a related optional dungeon. So that's just unlocked like the Earth Gift Shrine, something along those lines. You can tell I haven't done these optional dungeons. But yeah, so we're never going to visit them. They're not particularly relevant to us. But we do get a nice breather there for that cutscene. And Leo's stopping to try and get another emergency exit. Even though he's past the point where he would have liked the emergency exit, I think. Someone slightly addicted to the 15 puzzle, I feel. Yeah, you'll see him here, he's waiting till after 30 seconds. He hasn't just, like, glitched out or gone AFK. Was that an emergency exit? I didn't actually see. I was looking at Lich. In which case, he'll have a little time save, probably for the next dungeon that we're going to head to, which is the Cavern of Ice. So that 30 seconds that he waited to finish the 15 puzzle there, probably going to be cancelled out by maybe a minute and a half time save. As a quick and easy way of escaping from that dungeon. And KrusKader, meanwhile, has also safely made it past Lich. It's not so much disrespect, it looks like he's just having a a bit of fun with the 15 puzzle, but he would genuinely do that against an opponent, probably if he was behind as well. He just prefers to take the gamble on getting the emergency exit. Leo's kind of the kind of runner who likes to take a risk on the possible chance of it paying off. And this is probably one of the biggest menus in the game. You see him buying, he's bought some ethers here, and he's also bought 2 new pieces of equipment, from which he's going to be glitching himself some more agility equipment here, and also the Lust Dagger, which is a weapon, and it's a fairly powerful weapon as well, but it also increases agility even more. Get all that agility, we want all of it. You'll also see he glitched a black robe, which he will be using to cast Bizarra, which is a little bit faster than using the Judgment Staff to just flare everything in our paths. KrusKader really catching up here. Must have had an excellent run up. Of course, don't forget, he will have caught up a little bit from that 15 puzzle, which probably Leo will negate when we get to the Cavern of Ice. But the Cavern of Ice is an excellent place for R&D. Oh guys, we've got some winners for you in this cavern. I believe KrusKader stopped and did a slightly different route there. I didn't see him pick up the Mithril gloves. Oh yeah, I've completely missed this part. You can see KrusKader right now talking to one of these weird dwarf guys. We talk to a lot of weird magic people who give us stuff, don't we? But yeah, the weird dwarf guys, they actually give you hints about the story if you don't know where you're going. But they also give you a canoe once you've killed the Fiend of Earth. So on Leo's screen, you'll see he has just finished trying out the canoe. And now heading into the Cavern of Ice. I'm just looking at KrusKader. I'm not entirely sure where KrusKader's going now. Possibly a different route, possibly going somewhere else first. We will find out in a minute. Possibly just had a moment and went the wrong way. So, right, anyway, Cavern of Ice is a horrible, horrible place with oh so many encounters that are currently trying to kill Leo. So, most of these guys we are fast enough to run away from. However, ambushes are very dangerous in this place. We've got the usual ones who can paralyze us. We have people who can cast Fire Arga. That's the Dark Wizards that Leo has now encountered twice, but managed to get away from. 3 times. Make that 3 times. We also have the White Dragon, who's a very rare encounter, but can one-shot us with Ice Storm. We'll be seeing them again later in the game. We have Pisca Demons, who, as usual, we can't run away from. We have Mind Flayers, whose status effect that comes with their attack is instant death. I probably missed several. Oh yeah, we still have Cockatrices as well, so we can still get turned to stone. To stone, sorry. Yeah, this place is, we'll call it dangerous and leave it at that. Yes, there are white dragons in the ice cavern. I think they can only come one at a time. So they're not quite double dragons standard of trollery, but considering how weak we are here, it doesn't really matter. You only need one ice storm to wreck you. And here you go, here's some cockroaches and mummies. That's a beautiful combo encounter. The mummies can inflict sleep with each attack, and the cockroaches can inflict petrify with each attack. So you just want to run away from those guys as quickly as possible. And KrusKader just starting the gauntlet down as well. There is a reason we've come in here, though. That reason... Okay, there's two reasons. Twofold reasons. One is that weird triangle thing that you can see on Leo's screen, which is the Levystone, which we will be using to get an airship later. Anyone who's played any Final Fantasy games will know how good airships are. The other reason that we're down here is this guy, the Evil Eye. He's quite weak. It's got very low HP. It's like 200 HP or something. But he gives a ton of experience, and this tile that we're on next to the Levystone is a spike tile, which means that every time we step on it, we will get that exact same encounter. So what are we going to do? We're going to kill off two of our characters, and we're going to grind. We need to grind up to level 19 for both the mages in order to get some level 5-6 spells. Oh no, KrusKader's just run into that white dragon I was talking about earlier. Did he safety save? Yes, he did, but now he's got to take it from the top of the cavern. Oh geez, that's some bad luck. That's a 1 in 64 encounter. And you can quite easily kill it or run away from it before it gets a turn. So that's quite nasty. But yeah, we are trying to level our mages here to level 19 in order to get some spells for later in the game. I believe the spells that we need to be at level 19 for are haste, or is it teleport? We'll be getting haste and teleport for our black mage. Haste, which allows us to do something like twice the number of attacks, or a vastly increased number of attacks, which does more damage. And teleport, which lets us go up a floor in a dungeon, which makes us... we can escape from places easier, basically. The white mage will be doing Healara later, which, again, absolutely essential. And I've just missed Leo using his emergency exit, so yeah, otherwise he would have had to run out of that dungeon, but he's just used the emergency exit and skipped a load of shit. Meanwhile, KrusKader is still plodding along. Still making his way through. Yeah, this place is horrible. Everyone hates the cavern box. It looks pretty, but it's evil. So Leo has now made his way out, and he's taking his Levystone to the desert, which, you know, obviously, if you take a levitating stone to the desert and kind of whack it around in the sand for a bit, then you get an airship. And Leo will be skipping this cutscene, but the airship rises out of the sand, and very, very pretty, but we don't like cutscenes. We're speedrunners. Gotta go fast. So, getting the airship means that the world map is almost completely opened up to us. And first thing we can do with that is head to the Citadel of Trials. You can actually get there by ship, but it's considerably faster to take the airship instead. Even though you have to park quite a long way away from the Citadel of Trials, because you can only park the airship on a grass tile. And there aren't any grass tiles around the Citadel of Trials. It's all desert and marsh and forest and all kinds of beautiful environments. But the Citadel of Trials is a relatively short dungeon that you go to, where the main objective is getting the rat's tail, which is in a chest at the very end of the dungeon. Yes, I said rat's tail. We will be getting the rat's tail, and that will mean that we are brave. Because we like to be brave with rat's tails. Don't ask questions. And Bahamut will reward us by upgrading our characters to their next job class. Job upgrade thing. Oh wow, and I completely missed that. KrusKader just been completely wrecked by a cockatrice encounter. That is some truly terrible luck. And these guys are absolutely horrible. And doesn't look like he's resetting right now. KrusKader, keep going, you can do it. Yeah, as I said, the ice cavern is absolutely horrible. And that is really, really sad. I think KrusKader is forfeiting his race here. Yeah, I think this might be a forfeit, which means that Leo just has to finish his race to win this one. But it is very sad to see a runner have to leave, have to give up because of something like that. But this is FF1, this is the game that we all run. This is the RNG we sign up for. So Leo here, I think he may have been a little bit underleveled here, probably because of his emergency exit. But we did, yeah, we have to be at level 19 before we go to get our spells, which I think he probably does before Marilith. And usually we grind to level 18 in Cavern of Ice, and then rely on unrunnable encounters on the spike tiles in the Citadel of Trials to level us all the way up to 19. However, Leo there happened to do a little bit of extra grinding. So we've taken our rat's tail on Leo's side to Bahamut, the King of Dragons. He's full of all kinds of exciting mega flares and attacks and summons and stuff in all the other games. In this one, he kind of just sits in a cave and occasionally turns mages into wizards. yeah, this job upgrade allows us to get some spells that we otherwise wouldn't be able to use. It generally increases our stats and abilities, and it means that the thief, who's now a ninja, can use some equipment that he otherwise wouldn't have been able to use, which makes it easier for us to use the equipment glitch to create more stuff that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to put on adjacent characters. So it's generally a good upgrade for us. It's definitely worth taking the time out to go and do the Citadel trials. And Leo here, accidentally running from some hellhounds who we cannot run away from. In fact, he did a menu earlier specifically for these guys. I'm surprised he's not using a magic attack here, but I suppose it's just as fast to attack them when there's only 2 of them. But you may have noticed he did a quick equipment glitch menu to put some lordly robes on his white wizard. That's because she will now be our main damage dealer here. It's a bit of a shortcut there because we will be putting more lordly robes on her later. But currently, she's the one that's going to be using all the items. Because we are about to head... No, I'm completely getting ahead of myself. We have Marilith first before we have Kraken. But here we've just bought this ferry in a caravan, and we've now released her into a lake, and as a thank you, she's giving us the Oxy Ale, which I believe is something that allows us to breathe underwater. First though, before we can do water, we have to do fire. We will be heading into a volcano. This is Mount Gold, and that is a rather unlucky encounter straight off. You can get all the way through Mount Gold without encounters, as you cannot get encounters on the lava tiles, and also your threat level of possible getting encounters doesn't increase on the lava tiles. And 2 before he's even got off the 2nd floor. That is extremely unlucky. Because of that, you'll see him hugging the lava tiles. However, obviously, walking on lava does not come without its side effects. We will be losing 1 HP for every tile that we walk on the lava. And because of that, despite the fact that we don't get that many encounters here, it can be quite dangerous to get them if you do. Obviously, we might end up with just like 4 HP between our whole party. So, ideally, not wanting to see any. If we do want to see them, we don't want to see them when we've got no HP. However, Leo being safe there and healing up in the middle of the dungeon. Yes, the floor is literally lava. And here he's just healing up, because we've got a boss fight ahead of us. Marilith, sorry, I'm an FF9 runner. Marilith is like Glitch, not very dangerous, goes down very quickly, but can wreck us with AoEs. She has the Fire Auger attack, and if she gets to go first, she can do us quite a lot of damage. Or she can just hit us with her swords, because she's got a few of those, so that works. So finally, we are getting the benefits of that massive grind that we just did. I say massive, it's the shortest possible grind in all of the console versions, but it's still a grind. So we're picking up Haste here, and then next we'll be picking up Hilara and Teleport, Blizzara. But we're doing a quick tour of all the towns we've already been to, because we now have the level required to buy these spells. So, as you can probably guess, this is a good bit of routing for finding the fastest way from town to town. I think lots of runners have different routes of how to do it. In fact, that part is all... It's possible to do it all in a completely different order. We had that in some previous races where it's difficult to tell who's ahead for a bit because everything gets a bit muddled. But this is over now, and we're heading into the Yellow Submarine. Leo had a couple of misclicks there. But yep, as we are now oxyaled up, we can breathe underwater, and we can head into the Sunken Shrine. I believe there is usually some music hype for this place. However, this is also unrunnable hype. Again, it's not too dangerous here, but it's quite a lot of time loss. As quite a lot of these guys won't let you run from them, and they'll be in quite big packs that we have to use magic attacks to take down. And here's your first example here. The Sahagin Prince and Chiefs. We will use the gauntlets to take them out because the gauntlets cast Thundara. It's quite a quick spell. Doesn't take too long. Animation not too long. And it takes out all of them at once. You'll also see ghosts and water elementals, or possibly, if Leo is very lucky, you won't see them at all. But yeah, every one of those unrunnable encounters you have to stop to take them down, so ideally you don't want to see too many of them. And wow, what a lucky floor that was, no encounters at all. Oh wait, it's the Rosetta Stone floor. You can't get encounters. Rosetta Stone is another key item we're picking up for our fetch quests. We've got to make a small detour, and then we'll be using the teleport ability to go down 2 floors to where we were. Or to look at the bestiary. That too. I'm currently being called an emergency exit. I'm a little confused about this. Chat, is that a compliment, chat, or feels when the runner is just ducking into chat to possibly compliment you. So yeah, we're just making our way through the Sunken Shrine, and oh, Leo here getting an early ribbon. That's an interesting choice. Probably comes from his GBA experience. The ribbon halves elemental damage, so it's quite nice to get on all your characters as soon as possible. However, we would normally be getting it a little bit later on, but you can grab it here with just a little detour, a couple of extra encounters. I suppose this puts it all into one big menu as well. So this is a big menu. We're putting everyone in the survival vest. The survival vest being the fastest piece of equipment we use in the game. Gives a lot of agility to all of these characters and makes us basically the Usain Bolt of the FF1 world. We'll also be putting lordly robes on the white mage so that she can be truly a magical powerhouse, and getting ribbons here due to having picked them up already. Now, Kib, I hear you say, I thought you said that you could only use the equipment glitch to turn a weapon into a piece of equipment and a piece of equipment into a weapon. That is true. However, we used the ribbon to turn it into a Gigantaxe, and then we used the Gigantaxe to turn it back into a ribbon. So basically, we have made ribbons from nothing. We are Jesus. If Jesus turned water into ribbons. Yeah, Leo saying it's only a safety strap there. Yeah, just to protect us against some of the instant death attacks and the elemental attacks that we're gonna be encountering before we get that next ribbon. Particularly, there's a spike tile in the next dungeon where we can get attacked by the cockatrice's older, meaner brother. What are those guys called? I'll let you know in a bit. They're basically pink cockatrices, and their status effect that they inflict is instant death, just like the mind flayers. So it's always nice to have a ribbon to stay safe against those guys. Meanwhile, the Fiend number 3 is cracking. He can take 2 turns to take down. He's got a decent amount of HP. However, Leo got 2 high rolls there, and he's gone down in 1 turn. He can be very nasty in other versions of the game for a barbarian sword. So we've made it out the Sunken Shrine, and our next stop is the Waterfall Cavern. I'll give you one guess where we find the Waterfall Cavern. Now this place isn't too dangerous. Very few things in here that can instant kill you. Very few things that aren't runnable. But you get an encounter basically every few steps. It's got probably the highest encounter rate of the game, and likes to make it known. Leo choosing to kill the nightmares here, as although they are runnable, they can be a bit of a pain to run from. They've got very high agility, and you can be stuck there for a turn or 2 trying to run away from them, as opposed to just taking them out with 1 shot. Yep, Waterfall Cavern, absolutely in a volcano. Perfect. Gold star. This is the spike tile I was talking about just now. Pyralisks, that's what they're called. Pink cockatrices, basically. And luckily not giving Leo any trouble here. And he does not need to grab the ribbon that is in the chest next to him, because he's already done it. He's just going to put a leather shield on instead, just in case. So, using teleport on the Black Mage to get out as quickly as possible. I mean, as you saw, like, teleport is so quick and easy. That's usually why we don't bother getting the emergency exit, because you know, teleport does the job a little bit further down the road. Sorry guys, I think I lied about having the exclamation mark commands. Oh, they do exist. Fabulous. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, the random encounters are definitely basically the #1 thing in this run. You kind of have to accept that you're gambling a lot every time you do basically anything in this game. Part of the joy of it, the surrender to RNG, also makes it a very fun tournament. What's the average duration of a speedrun for this game? About somewhere, the world record is 124. Usually a normal run will be about 130 to 145. And that difference is usually completely made up of RNG. Yeah, as Chris said, I got a 127 the other day. We've also had excellent runners getting 145s. They're a bit of a pain. It's FF1. What can you do? So, Leo has... I missed a bit where he went and learnt a language, I'm afraid. Yeah, I know, I completely missed the part where he learnt a language. It takes 5 seconds. But he got the Rosetta Stone, which allows him to learn Lufenian. He is now doing the walk to Lufenia from his airship, because airship parking spots are very rare in this game. So this is Lufenia. They all speak Lufenian rather than English, you know, which everyone else speaks for some reason. Which means that you can't get the chime from them until you speak their language. So you have to do the Sunken Shrine before you do the next dungeon that we are going to head to now. The main problem with this walk is Minotaur zombies. They are unrunnable. They do not hurt you. They just like to waylay you and generally be a pain. Luckily, they're quite quick and easy to take out. You just do a quick blast with the Mage's Robe, or they go down with one shot from the Barbarian Sword as well. However, they can really make this walk a bit of a pain if you get so many of them that you have to stop and do it in every single fight. So heading back to the airship so that we can make a quick hop on and off. Yep, there's a nice convenient airship tile just to the right of the desert here. And now we're heading up to the Mirage Tower. The Mirage Tower is another place that's got quite a high encounter rate, as you've probably already noticed. Nothing too dangerous in here. We are now protected by ribbons from any of the status effects or the serious damage, and there's only one unrunnable in here, and that's a 1 in 64 encounter. Is the PSP emulated, or does it have its screen captured? Leo is running on console. KrusKader, when he was running, unfortunately he's had to forfeit. He was on emulator. Most of us run on emulator. Leo prefers console. He believes in the console master race. But they're much of a muchness. I think the main difference is that it takes a lot longer on the console to save, which, as most of us don't save in our usual runs that aren't in a tournament, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, I don't agree with the console master race. I'm very much the emulator master race. Much to Leo's disgust. Yeah, as you'll notice, we have just switched to the Flying Fortress, which is at the top of the Mirage Tower, probably, I think. I don't know, there's lots of teleporters here, so we might have just teleported to somewhere else in the clouds. Leo making quick progress here. There's 5 floors to the Mirage Tower, and I have not started hyping up our special guest, who we find on the 5th floor, who is the Womack, who is a 1 in 64 encounter that you can only find on a very short floor. So, we might be visited by the Womack today. If we get hyped for it. So this is the floor. And Leo doing a quick safety save, just in case he gets wrecked by a Womack. Probably, maybe, I don't know. He could be trolling us. Yeah, as you can see, you can get through this floor without any encounters at all. So the chances of getting this very rare 1 in 64 encounter, very, very low indeed. However, it is the best encounter in the game, so... So here you'll see Leo making the first use of the haste ability, which we'll be casting on the Thief. The Thief, as he has a very high agility stat, is it agility? I think it's agility. Means that he, for every turn that he has, every time he attacks, he actually does more attacks. And the haste ability increases that even further. So rather than doing like 5 attacks, he does like 15 instead. And that means that he does a hell of a lot more damage. For this reason, the Thief is now our main damage dealer, and we will be casting haste on him before all of the other party members. Last chance for Womack? No, okay, no Womack today, guys. I'm sure we will see one in the tournament eventually. And that person will go on to win the tournament. So, you may recognise this place. This is the Chaos Shrine that we were at the beginning. Please ignore this cutscene, it's irrelevant. This is the unlocking of the optional dungeon that comes only in the PSP version. We're going to ignore it and carry on to the final dungeon, so don't worry about it. We've now got all 4 crystals, so we can go to the black crystal, also known as the blue blob on your screen, and it will send us back 2,000 years in time, when encounters were much more plentiful and much more dangerous. And because of that, first thing we're going to do is heal up and safety save. Now, remember the white dragon that made KrusKader's life hell the first time he wiped? Well, now white dragons have 3 friends. Or, alternatively, chimeras can ambush you. And they can just cast fire attacks at you instead. But yeah, the white dragons who show up here, if they ambush you, you're pretty much game over. Now, this place, obviously, as the final dungeon, has a lot of painful encounters, lots of unrunnables, about 7, which is more than any other dungeon in the game. First of these that we've encountered here is Ice Gigas and Winter Wolves, who also have very high HP, and therefore we can't just use a fire on them. We have to go the whole hog and use flare. Are the secret dungeons the same as on the GBA version? Yes, except for that one that we just saw open. That one's a special PSP exclusive. Yep, that was the Green Dragons. Again, they can wreck you if they ambush you. They have a poison gas ability that is very painful. They are weak to ice, so we take them down with the Black Robe. Now, as we go a bit further down into the Chaos Shrine, you'll notice that the floors are kind of themed around each of the themes. That is because we will be fighting them all over again, and they are considerably stronger and they have a lot more HP. So that means they'll take like 2 whole rounds with the Barbarian Sword or something? Yeah. Dragon Zombies, also unrunnable. Go down with a Firer or with a Barbarian Sword as displayed by Leo. Obviously, the less of these unrunnable encounters you get, the faster your time will be. And Leo getting fairly lucky here, and not seeing any white dragons so far, but this is their favourite floor. Nope, he gets chimeras instead of white dragons today, apparently. They're having some trouble running away from them. I mean, their blaze attack is nowhere near as powerful as Ice Storm, but considering that the 2 mages don't have ribbons on, so they take twice as much damage from elemental attacks, still enough to take them out. Luckily, we've managed to run away. Finally. Yep, apparently this is the Chimera floor today. Lucky Leo. And this is Lich's floor, which is why we're going to be seeing some Earth Elementals. These guys are, I believe, a very, very rare encounter in the Cavern of Earth, on possibly the 5th floor, I think. But they pop up quite a lot on this floor of the Chaos Shrine. And unfortunately, we just have to take them out with Barbarian Sword or Flare because of high HP values. Also, just taking a quick note of Leo's HP on his characters here. It's looking pretty good. We ideally want to have about 275 to 300 HP on the Ninja, and 250 plus on your Black Mage to be able to survive everything that Chaos throws at us at the end of the dungeon. So, not perfect, but could be a lot worse here. Lich, by the way, can be a really dangerous opponent. However, Leo's got fairly lucky today. Lich can cast Flare, which can obviously take us out quite hard. Quite a lot of runners safety save for that one, but Leo opted to heal to full and go at it full throttle. And this is Marilith's floor. Marilith probably one of the easier refights. She still has Fire Arga, but otherwise pretty much pushover. Also, her floor is pretty much pushover because there's only one unrunnable and it's very rare. Yep, Marilith taking a beating and going down. So that's 2 fiends down, 2 to go. The fiends, by the way, are actually on spike tiles rather than bosses, which means that if you accidentally go the wrong way after you fought them, you have to go back and fight them again. Something that most FF1 runners discover the hard way. And Leo taking a nasty ambush there from 8 enemies. Just a bit of a time loss. This is Kraken's floor, so you'll be seeing stuff from the Sunken Shrine. Particularly don't want to see the water elementals because they are unrunnable. Let's see him now get about 20 water elementals because commentator's curse. Nope, free run to Kraken. Nice. And Kraken's down. Getting very good boss fights here. All of them just doing physical attacks and going down in the minimum number of rounds. Hopefully that's a good omen for Chaos. We'll find out. Tiamat's one of the harder hitting of the refights. Likes to cast Thunderbolt and kill your Black Mage. But not today. So I don't believe Leo healed before this fight, so let's hope that this takes Tiamat out in 2 rounds. Yep, perfect. Sometimes Tiamat can take 3. And that gives him a chance to get off Thunderbolt and Scourge, or Poison Gas, or anything else he feels like throwing at you. Poison Gas? I think I mean Scourge. Anyway, so, last floor down. No encounters on the last floor to give you a little breather. Before the last menu, before Chaos, who is the namer of our tournament, because he is, as his name kind of suggests, pretty chaotic. He's the reason that we've got half the spells that we've got, he's the reason that we did our grind, he's the reason that we are currently creating extra ribbons, extra lordly robes, making absolutely sure that we are protected to the best of our abilities. And you'll also see that the Black Mage is about to join in with the Barbarian Sword Fiesta. So, 1 safety save for Chaos, because sometimes if you get bad damage rolls on the first turn, you can lose your Black Mage, who then can't cast haste, who then can't buff up your characters enough to do enough damage. Also, another one that you can have happen here is that Chaos can do physical attacks. Great thing that you want to see, because it's very quick compared to his very long elemental casts. However, he can do critical physical attacks, which can do enough damage to take out pretty much any of your party members. And this is a pretty good time to be going into Chaos. I'm going to call this about 130, 131. If we see a lot of physicals, could be less than that. I may just be cursing him and he may be about to die. But as you can see, we picked up some Giant's Tonics earlier in the run. Giant's Tonics give you an extra 200 maximum HP. So, using them to buff up your Thief and your Black Mage if they haven't ended up with enough HP. Very much a safe strat to go for. Particularly because his magic attacks such as Blaze and Cyclone can do a lot of damage. Yep, was that 341 or 241 on the Black Mage there? I may have misread that. Lots. Anyway, certainly lots. If it was 341, he may have accidentally missed the ribbon on the Black Mage. Luckily, not a problem at this point, because he's already got his haste off. So anything that Chaos now throws at him is pretty much just to be a pain. White Mage looking a little on the low HP side. Obviously, your White Mage is healing every single turn here. We took off her... I always want to say take off her clothes here. We actually put clothes on her, but because we take off the clothes. That means that she has a lower agility, so she always goes at the end of every single turn. So that no matter how much damage Chaos does, we can heal it up at the end of the turn. Ooh, that's looking a bit close. Please, no more magic attacks, Chaos. Please die peacefully. Earthquake is fine. Earthquake possibly causes instant death. Yep. He definitely did not have a ribbon on his Black Mage. Luckily, it's okay. We just need to get in the damage now. And there we go! That is Chaos down. And a very respectable time of 1:30:39. That will be going somewhere near the top of our fastest tournament times, I believe. And I don't know if we are doing interviews today. Do we want to get Leo in for interview? Yes, here he is.
Hello.
Leo.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi
How
there.
are you feeling?
All kind of mixed up. I mean,
I saw you
I don't know.
moaning the entire time about how rubbish it
Oh,
running
it was
Then you get
even
yourself a
worse in real
130.
life. But I mean, yeah, the very start of the run wasn't that glorious. I didn't get that much of a bad RNG, but at least an annoying one potential.
Yeah. It's always
Except for that
annoying.
second puzzle
Perfect.
tryout.
Yeah, good job on the second puzzle.
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it for the fun, and I was like, oh shit, I actually got it. Shame, that's a curse.
Yeah. Shame you couldn't have got it before the Cavern of Earth, but still
Yeah.
nice time save on the Cavern of Ice.
Yeah, I'm still quite surprised of that time. I was not expecting being that close to sub 130 again.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the very end game gave me a.
Yeah, it's always nice, isn't it, when you think it's just kind of a rubbish run and then suddenly
Oh
comes
yeah.
out roses. It's a real shame about KrusKader though. Very
Yeah.
sad.
So for those who didn't know, I think someone mentioned it in the chat. He actually left a comment inside the SRL saying that it was that second death broken him mentally speaking, and he was
I
quite
wasn't
tired.
sure whether
So
he would want to publicize that or just kind of disappear and quietly hide
Yeah.
from RNG.
Yep.
But yeah, unfortunately, KrusKader just wasn't having it today. Couldn't deal with FF1 shit.
yeah, I can totally understand.
Yeah, we've all been there. FF1 is
Oh,
cruel mistress.
yeah, you always have to learn it the hard way. That's the worst when it comes to that game.
Yeah, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do. I mean, it's not like
Mhm.
KrusKader did anything wrong. It's just that the game sometimes just has it in for you, and we've all been there, and it's very sad to see.
True.
But,
And even
still,
though I knew he just fulfilled it, I wasn't intentionally throwing the run out because as someone was calling for the war make, I was like, nah. If people thought that the second puzzle was a disrespectful move, just thrashing the runaway would have been even more. So.
no, I think we all understand why you did the second puzzle.
I
Leo
mean, that's
and
one
15
of the
puzzle
things.
on match
Yeah.
made in heaven.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things I announced was entering was like, I'm all for the puzzle, at
Yeah.
least for the group phase. I'm gonna think about it twice when it comes to the double elimination bracket if I ever get to it. Well, it's quite good as of
Yeah.
now. But yeah, I might maybe change my mind, but not yet.
Well, it's working for you at the moment.
Yep.
So, you know, unless you use up all your luck before you get there.
That's true.
But yeah, so how many how many races have you done now?
It's my third one, and my final race, the rematch against KrusKader, is for the next week, Wednesday night at this very same time, I think. And after that, I'm gonna be free for the whole month.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've got your races over quite quickly, haven't you? Yeah, we all have to do 4 races in this tournament to make it out of the group brackets, and that's Leo's third, and is that 3 wins?
3 wins out of 3.
That probably means you're through then. Congratulations.
Yep. And that doesn't mean my opponent were not that great. Actually, that was quite the opposite. I mean, KrusKader did good for, I think it was his comeback run. He
he wasn't very far
arrived.
behind you when he had to forfeit, actually.
Yeah.
He made quite a lot of time up since the camp best.
So KrusKader goes to both very, very skillful runners. So I would look up to them.
Yeah, hopefully
they might have to struggle for the qualifying place. That's gonna be interesting too.
Hopefully he'll get a chance to show us what he's made of in this next re-race against you. So that'll be on Wednesday. So guys, tune back in for that.
Yeah, I hope the run was fun to watch at least.
Yeah, it was. It was very fun. We had a lot of fun in chat. So yeah, I guess, have you got anything else to say, or should we call it?
Thank you for the commentary. You were all alone tonight again.
My voice is a little croaky towards the end.
But that's all right. I mean, you did the effort to actually cover it up, so that's always good.
Yeah, and thank you very much to our restreamers, and as usual, Speed Gaming for hosting us, and thank you to you guys for watching. Thank you very much, everyone.
Have a good night or a good day.
Yep, good night, everybody, and see you later.
Ciao.